can count on.
Road to war? UN weapons inspectors say Saddam is not coming clean. They want more time. Reaction from the White House, U.S. allies in Baghdad. Terror trail. The alleged link between Iraq and al-Qaeda. How strong is the evidence? Fallout. Fear of war drives stocks down again. How war talk is affecting the economy. And a new prescription designed to lower the cost of medicine for seniors, but there is an important trade-off.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. After weeks of weapons inspections, posturing by Iraq, angry demands by the Americans, and skepticism from Western allies, this was an important day on the road to either war or a peaceful solution in the standoff that now has the world on hold. Hans Blix made his report to the UN Security Council on the progress of the inspectors so far, and in his dry diplomatic monologue, he ticked off some troubling issues that are still unresolved. Nerve gas and anthrax, missiles and rockets, and most of all, Iraq's resistance to disarming. The Bush administration was quick to react. We're covering this story from all the angles tonight. We'll begin with NBC Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent, Andrea Mitchell. Andrea?
Tom, U.S. officials say that today's report shows that Saddam Hussein is still hiding some of the most dangerous weapons in the world. While praising Iraq for letting inspectors do their work, in a tougher-than-expected report, Hans Blix complained that Iraq still has much to explain.
Iraq appears not to have come to a genuine acceptance, not even today, of the disarmament which was demanded of it.
The closest thing to a smoking gun in his report, Blix says Iraq now admits it has 2 types of missiles, longer range than the UN permits, and 300 rocket engines and ingredients for rocket fuel, smuggled in as recently as last month.
They've now deployed these missiles in their armed forces and out to the periphery of the country. That is serious. And in fact, under the current Security Council resolution, the inspectorate should now go and destroy those missiles.
What else did Blix report? No proof Iraq has destroyed more than 8 tons of anthrax, 4 tons of deadly VX nerve gas, 6,500 chemical bombs able to carry 1,000 tons of chemical weapons. The report card on nuclear weapons much more favorable to Iraq. Contrary to U.S. claims, Mohammed el-Baradei found no evidence Iraq is restarting its nuclear program. But he asked for more time, 2 more months.
These few months, in my view, would be a valuable investment in peace because they could help us avoid a war.
The U.S. immediately rejected the idea of giving the inspectors months more.
The issue is not how much more time the inspectors need to search in the dark. It is how much more time Iraq should be given to turn on the lights and to come clean. And the answer is not much more time.
Even the French ambassador, who wants to give the inspectors more time, said Iraq must provide more answers.
There are still question marks. This is the reason why Iraq must cooperate more actively.
And a majority of the Security Council still opposes military action. Russia's foreign minister, in an interview with NBC News. He said, right now there is no basis for rushing to the use of force. And the UN Secretary General.
Time will be necessary, a reasonable amount of time. I'm not saying forever, but they do need time to get the work done.
The President and Tony Blair are now talking about another month. Enough time for more reports from the weapons inspectors, more diplomacy from Colin Powell, and for more troops and equipment to get to the Gulf. Tom?
Thanks very much, NBC's Andrea Mitchell tonight. In Iraq, the official line remains the same. We're doing all we can. We have nothing to hide. All the while, preparing for war. NBC's Ron Allen is in Baghdad for us tonight. Ron?
Tom, tonight Saddam Hussein's government continues to insist it has done everything possible to cooperate with the inspectors. The ball, Iraq says, is not in its court.
Saddam Hussein plotting strategy with his military commanders dominates TV tonight, not the UN session. The army reports troops well prepared, a sword in Saddam's hand. In this Baghdad cafe, a rare place that has satellite TV from around the world, the crowd preferred to watch Saddam or MTV. Everyone's saying they already knew what the inspectors would have to say.
They are trying to give the motive to the Americans to hit Iraq.
You don't think they're looking for weapons?
No, really no.
In New York, Iraq's UN ambassador focused on what was positive.
The main conclusion of today's session is that both Mr. Blix and Mr. Al-Baradei said that inspections are working and they found no weapons of mass destruction.
Back in Baghdad, it was business as usual for the inspectors, witnessing the test firing of a suspicious missile system at one site, while demonstrators kept up what have become almost daily protests against America's plans to invade. In some of Baghdad's neighborhoods, signs of preparations for the worst. Small food centers handing out extra rations of staple items, cooking oil, soap, and beans. The government-run center gives these women 2 months' worth of supplies instead of one, just in case. We hope and pray to God there won't be war, she says. Some of Iraq's poorest making sure nothing gets wasted.
Earlier today, Iraq's foreign minister called the Bush administration warmongers with dreams of dominating the world. The feeling that war is inevitable runs deep here tonight, Tom.
Thanks very much, NBC's Ron Allen in Baghdad tonight. When President Bush goes to Capitol Hill tomorrow night for his State of the Union speech, it's expected to be much more than the usual recitation of legislative accomplishments and political promises of what's to come. As NBC David Gregory reports from the White House tonight, the administration knows it has work to do on the political front. David?
Tom, sensing an erosion of support for the war here at home today, the administration seized on the UN report and attempted to shift the focus of the debate to a question of the cost of inaction. While senior officials say the president will not make a declaration of war in tomorrow night's State of the Union address, aides say he will frame the case against Saddam. Today, Mr. Bush left it to his spokesman to answer critics who ask what precise threat Iraq and its weapons of mass destruction pose to America.
That is the fear, that Saddam Hussein will indeed unleash these weapons if he is able to, or link up with terrorists who will do it for him.
And what about the revival of an old administration claim that Iraq has ties to al-Qaeda? Today, the charge first made by the president last October that Iraq trained al-Qaeda terrorists to use chemical weapons. No evidence offered to back that up, but a promise that evidence of the link to terrorists will be divulged within days. Administration officials realize the 9/11 connection may be the key to making their case against Iraq. The recent NBC News Wall Street Journal poll shows that Americans fear al-Qaeda more than Saddam. As the threat of conflict increases, more anti-war demonstrations around the world. Off the south coast of England today, activists with the environmental group Greenpeace block a British warship heading out to the Gulf. Meantime, back in Washington, Democrats accuse the president of making the country more vulnerable to another terror attack by targeting Saddam.
The president would also do much to unify support for his policy if he can explain why we are pursuing this hurry-up approach on Iraq that seems to be costing us the support of our allies.
The president is trying to rebut that impression with some aggressive personal diplomacy. A call today to President Aznar of Spain, meetings this week with Italian Prime Minister Berlusconi and British Prime Minister Blair at Camp David, all supporters of war. An attempt, aides say, to prove that a coalition is still possible, even if France and Germany stay on the sidelines. Tom.
Thanks very much, NBC's David Gregory at the White House tonight. We have more tonight on the administration's claim that Saddam Hussein has direct connections to the al-Qaeda terror network. At the center of that claim is a terrorist training camp in northern Iraq and an al-Qaeda leader who is believed to have spent some time there. NBC's Jim Eklashevsky has more on this story tonight from the Pentagon. Jim, what's the latest there?
Tom, U.S. intelligence officials are convinced that terrorist camp in Iraq is a deadly weapons factory. The question, can the U.S. link it to Saddam Hussein?
Hidden deep in a valley of northern Iraq, a landscape so desolate it looks like the moon, the village of Kurmadera. And in these exclusive satellite photos, buildings that U.S. intelligence says is a factory for chemical and biological weapons. It's where terrorists are said to have produced ricin and cyanide, so deadly, one local villager was reportedly killed during experiments.
And as a result of this, in the production of ricin and of cyanide, there have been local casualties there.
The site is operated by Ansar al-Islam, a terrorist group with known ties to Osama bin Laden's al-Qaeda. In fact, U.S. officials tell NBC News that one top al-Qaeda leader, Abu Zarqawi, apparently visited the site recently, and that Zarqawi may be tied to recent plans to launch terrorist attacks out of London. According to the officials, it's believed Zarqawi may have been instrumental in transporting deadly agents from northern Iraq in an apparent attempt to poison British troops. U.S. Special Forces had plans to launch a covert raid against the Kurmadera complex, but Pentagon officials say it was called off because the Bush administration feared it would interfere with upcoming UN weapons inspections. And what connection, if any, does this have to Saddam Hussein? U.S. officials say Zarqawi sought medical attention in Baghdad after the war in Afghanistan. And although the terrorist camp is located in the Kurdish area of northern Iraq, much of it is still under Saddam's tight control.
It is without doubt that this group could not survive there without Saddam's cooperation.
But even British Prime Minister Tony Blair questions any possible links.
I'm not suggesting, in other words, that there isn't a potential linkage there. All I'm saying is that, in my view, the case that we make for disarming Iraq of weapons of mass destruction has got to be made in its own terms.
And tonight, even one U.S. intelligence official admits the alleged connection between Saddam Hussein and the terrorists in northern Iraq is still a little squishy, which could make it even harder for the administration to make its case. Tom?
Thanks very much, NBC. Jim Miklaszewski at the Pentagon tonight. For much more on today's reports on Iraq at the United Nations, you can log on to our website at msnbc.com. Up next, the stock market continues to melt down. Sharp losses on Wall Street, renewed worries about American savings. How much of it is because of war anxiety? And later, President Bush is set to propose a fundamental change in the structure of the Medicare program. What you'll want to know.
Announcing non-drowsy allergy medicine you can take right when you need it.
It's Alavert. New Alavert starts dissolving the instant it touches your tongue without water.
So Alavert is non-drowsy relief you can take inside, outside, in your car, wherever you are.
Imagine non-drowsy 24-hour relief in a quick-dissolving tablet. New quick-dissolving Alavert.
Allergy medicine you can take right when you need it, wherever you are.
The scorching pain of heartburn. The difference you feel only with Gaviscon. It quickly forms a soothing protective barrier that helps keep acid down for hours. For the relief you need, feel the soothing power of Gaviscon.
Escalade ESV, the biggest of the breed. Cadillac, breakthrough.
New Fix-It Complete Denture Adhesive. The strong hold you expect, plus more. A better fit. Fresher breath. Fewer stains. Less soreness. New Fix-It Complete, and forget it.
Grandpa, how come you always chug your Metamucil?
Because if Grandpa doesn't drink his fiber fast, it gets thick and gritty.
Mommy doesn't chug her fiber?
That's because Mommy found an easier way to take fiber. Benefiber.
Benefiber?
It never gets thick and gritty like Metamucil can.
So Mommy doesn't have to chug it.
Benefiber's taste-free, too. Mommy can even put it in her coffee or yogurt.
Mommy's pretty smart.
Benefiber makes taking fiber easier.
Will we go to war? Can the economy recover? The President's State of the Union Address, anchored by Tom Brokaw, with analysis from the experts Norman Schwarzkopf, Richard Butler, Bill Frist, and Nancy Pelosi. The State of the Union Address, a 2-hour NBC News special, Tuesday, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on NBC.
With U.S. troops on the move, Lester Holt and ex-Gulf War Commander General Wayne Downing report live from Kuwait. Countdown Iraq, all this week, only on MSNBC.
NBC News in depth tonight. The bad news bears. Wall Street continuing its sharp drop today, falling below the 8,000 mark for the first time since mid-October. The Dow was down more than 141 points on the day, bringing its losses over the last 8 trading sessions to more than 850 points. NASDAQ was off almost 17 points on the opening day of the week. As NBC's Ann Thompson tells us tonight, the watchword that's affecting the mood from Wall Street to Main Street is anxiety over a possible war in Iraq.
In Hinesville, Georgia, the sounds of a wartime economy. Seamstresses at this Army supply store sewing up to 5,000 patches a day onto soldiers' uniforms from nearby Fort Stewart.
We're getting in here half an hour to 2 hours before we're supposed to be, and we're not leaving here sometimes till 11 o'clock at night.
They've added 10 full-time workers to meet demand.
Dog tags?
But with military supplies plentiful, the big industrial surge of previous wars is not happening this time. Instead, the prospect of war generating uncertainty throughout much of the economy. The UN report accelerating Wall Street's triple-digit slide today.
It's all about confidence. We need the consumers to be confident. And if the geopolitical issues make them less confident, then we could obviously have a renewed concerns about the economy and earnings.
One of the biggest threats, rising oil prices. Iraq and the strike in Venezuela driving up the price of gasoline to a national average of $1.52 a gallon. Oil analyst John Kilduff says $2 is not out of the question.
With the increased demand for summer and the low crude oil inventories and the high price of crude, it translates to high gasoline prices for the consumer this spring and probably well into the summer.
And that could stall consumer spending and business investment in wartime, says economist Mark Zandi.
It'll cost the economy about 0.5%, maybe a full percentage point of growth. And that's just enough to make the difference between an economy that we feel comfortable with and one that we're very disappointed in.
But it's not just the potential of war that has economists and Wall Street worried. It's also the unique goal of this war, deposing Saddam Hussein.
I don't think anybody doubts that if it comes to a war, the United States will win. The real uncertainty is the peace. How difficult will it be? Will the Middle East be more stable or less stable? There are those who say it might be less stable.
Until those answers become clear, experts believe uncertainty will cloud the recovery. Hoping for a quick, decisive outcome, crucial, they say, to mend the economy. Ann Thompson, NBC News, New York.
Up next, a new prescription drug plan for seniors, but there's a trade-off in a price.
NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw, brought to you in part by H&R Block and H&R Block Financial Advisors.
You wait right here, Mark, and I'll get Diane. Diane! Diane!
Cheese it. Get your own box.
Who does your taxes? Are they done right? Brad Saylor, Chris Nelson, and Michael Yim took the free H&R Block Double Check Challenge and got more back. An average of $1,300. See if we can find you more.
Shh, they're coming.
Oh, what a time for a cold.
Nose is running, head's all blocked up. I need some Alka-Seltzer Plus.
Only Alka-Seltzer Plus has an effervescent cold-fighting formula that breaks up your worst cold symptoms fast. Alka-Seltzer Plus.
Only new Oust air sanitizer kills odor-causing bacteria in the air.
I mostly sprayed Lysol in the air. I thought Lysol was an air sanitizer.
It's true. Lysol works on surfaces, but it's not meant for the air. Only Oust air sanitizer kills 99.9% of odor-causing bacteria in the air.
My daughter Carly is like a tomboy, and her clothes are stinky and gross. Little spray right away. It smells great, just fresh.
Get odor-causing bacteria out with new Oust air sanitizer. S.C. Johnson, a family company.
Oust gets rid of the odors, doesn't mask the odors.
Even if you brush your dentures every day, you're missing something. Brushing can miss odor-causing food particles trapped in crevices. Polident with more polyvescent power scrubs out what brushing misses. Polident every day for better odor control.
Still scratching that itchy scalp? Scratching isn't healthy for it. Maximum Strength Scalpicin promotes a healthier scalp. It stops itching, stops scratching. Clear, odorless, with the medicine doctors recommend. Promote a healthier scalp with Scalpicin.
Excuse me?
Dad, don't look.
Well, you're wearing a towel.
No, don't look at the scale.
Maybe you should be eating Total cereal.
I eat Special K, thank you.
You know, a study of calcium supplements and reduced calorie diets suggests you could lose more weight and burn more fat by adding more calcium to your diet plan.
So?
Only Total has 100% daily value of calcium. Special K is hardly any.
Say no more. I'll take the Total. You're still here, aren't you?
Yeah, just leaving. Total. A smart way to lose the weight.
Tomorrow, the President's State of the Union address will be heard by a world in turmoil. What will he say to them and to us? We'll have a preview tomorrow on Today on NBC.
A computer worm named Slammer that crippled computers around the world over the weekend caused more disruptions in this country today as people return to work. The latest problems were not nearly as bad as the original outbreak Saturday, which stalled internet service for countless customers and totally disabled Bank of America's cash machines. Experts were surprised the worm was able to hit banks as hard as it did. The FBI is said to be investigating tonight. Now to a promise made to America's millions of seniors who need help paying for prescription drugs. In his State of the Union speech tomorrow, the president will spell out a plan for big changes in the Medicare program. Here's NBC's Norah O'Donnell.
69-year-old Paulette Bodwin is overwhelmed. She's spending over $7,000 a year on prescription drugs.
When you stop and think about it, the elderly are really, really having a hard time.
Paulette hopes that after years of political promises, she'll finally get help from Washington to pay for the 18 pills she takes every day. But she's not happy with President Bush's proposal, which she fears will force her to choose between her doctor and drug benefits.
It truly is frightening what he wants to do. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. Not at all. I have my physicians, and I certainly don't want to let them go.
Under the president's plan, seniors like Paulette would not be forced off Medicare, but if they want a drug benefit, they would have to join an HMO or another private insurance program that might limit doctor choices. The president wants to reform Medicare in order to fundamentally shore up the program for 76 million baby boomers. Karen Ignani, who lobbies Congress on behalf of HMOs, says the cost savings in the plan will give seniors better benefits.
We have millions of seniors that would like to be in a private sector plan because we can stretch dollars, provide broader access, and give seniors the benefit of competition.
But Democratic Senator Ted Kennedy calls the president's plan outrageous.
The administration should not hold hostage the prescription drug programs for our seniors and require them to join the HMOs.
The president faces a tough sell in Congress, where even a number of Republican senators think the president's $400 billion proposal is politically risky because it overhauls a plan very popular with seniors. The AARP, a powerful group which represents 40 million seniors, says they'll try and block any plan that doesn't give all Medicare patients a drug benefit. A view shared by Paulette, who says she'll be watching tomorrow night to see if the president's plan can deliver the help she needs. Norah O'Donnell, NBC News, the Capitol.
A reminder, you will be able to see the President's State of the Union speech tomorrow night at 9 Eastern on this NBC station. And another medical note tonight, new guidelines issued today urge doctors to consider testing millions of Americans at moderate risk for heart disease for signs of inflammation in the bloodstream, a newly recognized cause of heart attack. The test is a simple blood test that detects a protein that is a marker for inflammation. Next, when the prospects of war hit home for America's kids.
Imagine if you could always have this much personal space. Avalon, the most luxurious sedan we've ever created.
'Cause I can't stop loving you. No, I can't stop loving you.
Every day for thousands of years, Old Faithful has been, well, faithful.
What causes it to stay so regular?
Stay regular with Metamucil Daily Fiber Therapy. It works with you, naturally. Get regular, stay regular, the natural way.
It's fantastic news for denture wearers.
Super Polygrip's new ooze control tip spreads a thin, flat ribbon for less ooze.
Less ooze is excellent news.
Super Polygrip with the new ooze control tip. Less ooze. It's big news.
Body pain? Back pain? Introducing new Bare Back and Body. It's Bare Aspirin plus a special pain relief enhancer to relieve sore backs and soothe aching muscles fast. New Bare Back and Body. Get moving again pain-free.
How much is enough? Now you can decide. Introducing Orville Redenbacher's single-serve mini bags. Big Orville taste in a new snacking size. Pick up some Orville Redenbachers and start popping today.
have asthma. I also have a family. And carpool. And play dates. And 24 kids. Look, I might have asthma, but I also have a life.
Singulair helps you control your asthma. Singulair is not a steroid, and it's not an inhaler. It's a different kind of asthma controller. It's a once-a-day tablet that can help control your asthma for a full 24 hours. It also comes in a cherry chewable tablet for children 2 years and older. Singulair should not be used to treat acute asthma attacks. Continue taking your other asthma medicines unless your doctor tells you to stop or change the dose. If symptoms get worse, contact your doctor at once. Side effects are generally mild and vary by age and may include headache, flu, runny nose, and ear infection. For more information about Singulair, ask your doctor and ask about adding once-a-day Singulair. Singulair, asthma control that can help you breathe easier.
2 American journalists in the middle of the war on terror. Tonight at 6 on Channel 4 News.
A critical vote in the mid-state tonight, a yay or nay on the uranium plant.
What's in the future for Bellevue Center? More stores closing for good.
And the inside story tonight, Larry Brinton reveals a dark police secret.
Tonight at 6 on Channel 4 News. Coverage you can count on.
It's all the more unsettling when the choices are so controversial. As difficult as it is for adults, it is especially confounding for children, especially if their parents are shipping out. NBC's Bob Faw tonight on how the talk of war is so much more than just talk for the young.
Some almost adults, and others still children, are learning the lessons of war.
I pledge allegiance.
While fourth graders like these in Shreveport, Louisiana still affirm their beliefs, the essays they write about heroes show they know they also live in a world threatened by terrorists.
And some people lost their lives for us.
That struggle is very much on the mind of 10-year-old Evan Wheelis.
Heroes, not like Superman or Spider-Man. They're make-believe. I'm talking about real heroes, like my dad.
Who was recently deployed somewhere.
Far, far away.
You don't even know where he is, do you? What worries you the most?
So, Evan's teacher has to approach the subject of war gently.
We have to protect their innocence. The children have to have that as their hope for tomorrow and of our future.
As students get older, activities and preoccupations change.
I'm worried about what college I'm going to go to.
War is not a burning issue at Byrd High School, Shreveport's oldest. While the prospect does worry some,
And I don't believe in war. I don't believe in violence.
many Byrd juniors take a more aggressive approach.
I believe in the cause. You know, whatever our government believes is the best for our country, I agree with what they do.
Teenagers, sometimes naive and immature, need, say teachers, to be taught that war involves death and economic upheaval.
I think for the most part, they don't quite understand the repercussions that it's going to have on their lives.
Some, hearing about the consequences of war, do become ambivalent.
If it's going to affect our country so negatively, I don't know. I really do have mixed feelings about it.
So students, young and old, are, like the country, grappling with the prospects of war. For many, it has not hit home. For others, it is already too close. Bob Faw, NBC News, Shreveport, Louisiana.
That's Nightly News for Monday. I'm Tom Brokaw, and I'll see you from Washington tomorrow night for the President's State of the Union speech. I'll see you then.
NBC Nightly News and correspondent Martin Fletcher honored with the prestigious DuPont Columbia Award for coverage of the crisis in the Middle East. NBC News, America's news leader.
Tonight, what really led to this police captain's suspension.